I have a very clear way of thinking when it comes to recipes. If a recipe is very complicated, it is too good to be true, right? For a recipe to be honest, it's got to be simple. Because at the core, food needs to be simple. Traditional food needs to be simple. And the recipe that we're going to cook today is the simplest and the tastiest that you'll find. This is Ranveer Brar and welcome to India in 21 Recipes. Let's cook Sasam. Now the reason why I chose Sasam or chose to show you the recipe of Sasam is because if it's only 21 recipes, every recipe has got to have a meaning. And Sasam to me truly represents farm to table. It's a garden salad of, picking up stuff that grows in your garden, putting it together and creating a dish that's simple yet amazing, right? We'll talk about it. Let's start with the process first. So there are two parts to it. The salad is either served warm or it's served room temperature. Now, either ways, you got to make a dressing. So this here is fresh grated coconut, to which I'm going to add tamarind pulp. Preferably red tamarind pulp, but if you have black tamarind, that'll do as well. Then we're going to add jaggery to it, and then we're going to add soaked black mustard. Now to this, you'd add either some chili powder for color, or you could also add some whole red chilies, right? I'm going to add chili powder for color, a little bit of salt. So this in essence is the dressing. Obviously it'll go and we're going to make a paste of it. When you're making a paste, a good liquid to add to make that paste is water of the coconut. So while you were cracking the coconut to grate it, you should preserve the water, use the same water to grind the coconut with to make a paste. That's going to be the most preferred medium for making the paste. Otherwise, you could just add water or a tad bit of coconut milk. Typically in Konkan, there's a lot of hapus or Alphonso mangoes that would grow in your backyard. Pineapple would typically grow in your backyard. Coconut would grow in your backyard. You would just take some tamarind, jaggery. So you would take all this stuff that grows in your backyard, in any typical Konkan household backyard, and just make yourself a very lazy lunch. A sasam is like the perfect and the only accompaniment that you need with the rice. And then you can have this sasam, rice, and a good afternoon full of sleep. Obviously under the mango tree in your backyard. So sometimes in India, when I see us often getting obsessed with garden salads or farm to table as a concept, I often think of Sasam, and I would often think of what would an old Konkan boy growing up in Konkan eating Sasam every summer for a lazy lunch think of the concept. And that's why I thought this recipe needed to be spoken about, because there's an entire conversation on farm to table and the simplicity of the food of Maharashtra that probably could be touched upon and made to reach you through this recipe. Like I said, it's only 21 recipes. Every recipe's got to have a meaning, a story, and a reason why it's on a list, right? Now the reason I use the Swiss Modern office knife for peeling was because it gives me better control, because the blade is shorter. But when I'm slicing it, I'm using the carving knife because the size of the mango is big and I need a knife and a blade that sort of works with the size and justifies it. So just amba sasam or mango sasam is something that is very common, but you could also do an amba ananas sasam or a mango pineapple sasam. A lot of families would also add melon, summer melon to their sasam. A lot of families add a little bit of cucumber sometimes from the backyard. Like I said, there is no fixed recipe because it is a typical garden salad, and that is the beauty of it. It's important to just sort of make the fruits a little mushy. And then we'll put the dressing in it. So one option also is to take the fruits, add a little bit of salt, leave it for like 15 minutes, let the salt extract the juices of the fruit, then add the dressing. The other option is just leave it with the dressing for at least an hour and not in the fridge, somewhere outside. So all the flavors will then combine. Do not have a sasam immediately, doesn't work for me. If you're greedy for a taste, just a taste is good. Fantastic. So the ambe ananas sasam or the mango pineapple sasam is ready. All we need to do is temper it. And for tempering, you need asafoetida and fenugreek. I know both two difficult ingredients to pronounce. Hing and methi dana to make it simple. Asafoetida, fenugreek, now let's come back to part 2. So we've just made a sort of a curry with the same masala, dropped the mangoes in it. And we're going to let them cook. This is called an ambadi. Some places it's also called a sasam, ambe sasam, or hot sasam. It's basically cooked but never served hot. It's still served warm. You'd serve it warm with some rice and that would be a meal. You know, the beauty of sasam for me is the mustard and the way it just matures and sort of keeps tasting better. Beautiful. A little bit of mint makes everything fine. While in the hot sasam or the gravy or the ambadi, the idea is to let the mango cook, right? And let the juices of the mango mix with the sauce, the gravy, and that's what's going to make it exciting. Let's get ready to plate that as well. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a backyard. It doesn't matter if you don't have mangoes in your backyard. What matters is the joy that you will get when you cook this for yourself. It's not that difficult. This is Ranveer Brar signing off. I'm going to be back on India in 21 recipes. Stay tuned.